Yo, how's it going? Long time no see. I haven't done like a just regular old live stream for kind of a hot minute. I've done live streams when I've had guests on, but I haven't done like just a one-on-one live stream in a minute. And so basically, the purpose of this live stream is just to be kind of like a Q&A. You know, feel free to ask me whatever questions about really anything, but I guess specifically music marketing, music business, Facebook ads, Spotify stuff, whatever you want. I don't really have anything pre-planned. I will go through some stuff as I wait for people to ask questions. Just kind of showing off some, I guess, more recent things I've been doing, but I literally have nothing planned. So we're just going to hang out. You know, feel free to, we'll just talk for a bit. Maybe we'll let this go for like, 45 minutes or something, and we'll call it a night. Literally, like after I was done with like consultation stuff for the day, I was like, maybe I'll do a live stream today. And that's why I literally scheduled it only 30 minutes ago. So hello to JC Flores, TVLK Beats, Robert St. Luke's, Captures, Zeke, Contra Worldwide Recordings, The Prairie States, Chris Travaglini. How's everyone doing? Hope you're doing well on this, what day is it, Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday. Yeah, it's Tuesday. Cool. Well, we already get a question up. So Zeke, can you talk about lowering the cost per result in conversion campaign? So this is like a pretty deep topic, not gonna lie. Really, like, there's two big topics. There's two big things you can do when you're trying to lower the cost of an ad campaign. And let me pull up. I'll pull up one of my campaigns. I have a lot going on in this particular ad account at the moment. So I'm sharing my screen. This is Facebook ads. This is the campaign for my song "Life Is Short." I have a video that I did a couple weeks ago on like, it was called like 20,000 streams in 2 weeks or something. And this is that campaign. So there's two main things you can do to try to lower the cost of your conversion campaign, or really any campaign. One is testing different ad creatives. So that's like one of the biggest ones, testing ad creatives. And that's why if I go into like, I don't know, go into this ad set here, there's three parts of the song. And you can see that like verse 1 was 46 cents a conversion, the last chorus of the song was 23 cents, and verse 1 part 2 was 29 cents. So like, just by doing this, I cut the cost in half, right? And I could have taken this further. It's, again, it's like, there's always an unlimited amount of things you can do to make a campaign better, but by the time, with life getting in the way and everything that I have going on, by the time I'm there, I'm already spent more than 3/4 of my budget, and I don't have time to shoot more videos. So, but some people go to the crazy extents by testing ad creatives. And you can see this one won by a fair bit, 23 cents, 1,600 conversions. And the other thing you can do is test different audiences. So I have a Machine Gun Kelly Post Malone ad set. I have this Wide Open ad set only. So this is only top tier countries, 20 cents, which is pretty sweet. So like US, UK, Canada, Germany, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Sweden, Switzerland kind of audience. Open all tiers, lookalike audience. I tested a few other things as well. So those are the two main things, really, like audiences, and then also creative or video. Yeah, but thanks for the question, Zeke. Feel free to drop a follow-up if you have a specific kind of thing. Captures. Hey man, hope you're well. I am well. Thanks for asking. Hope you're doing well too. Contra Worldwide Recordings, Andrew, we love you over there. Great information. Thanks. I appreciate that. The Prairie States. Hey Andrew, hope you're doing great. I am doing great. Thank you. Hope you're doing great. Big fan of your videos. Between you, TD3, and the Entrepreneur team, we've learned a ton about marketing your music, which is fantastic. I love Tom Dupree III. He's a fantastic channel. He's a great dude too. I actually have an interview I have to upload that if you were lucky enough to see the live stream, or if you're on my Patreon, you've watched it. But I've been meaning to upload it, but I have another one to upload before I upload his. And Entrepreneur, I love Entrepreneur. I've had 2 interviews with those people, Circa and Jesse. Chris, totally worth a break from work to check this out. Nice. JC Flores, shout out to my brother Andrew. Yeah, man. Hope you're doing well on this wonderful Tuesday night. Captures, good question. Can we talk about raising your song? Oh man, the chat just like bumped up a notch. Can you talk about raising your song popularity score? I have roughly 80% save rate on a new single, but I want to get to 30+ popularity score. So if you didn't watch my video on popularity score, there's this site called Music Stacks. MUSICSTAX, Music Stacks. And basically it just pulls information that Spotify makes publicly available in their developer portal, but it makes it easy to look at if you don't know what you're doing. And you know, you can click on a song, so I can click on my song Life is Short, and there's this metric called popularity. And the reason why this number matters is because people like Tom Dupree and myself have pointed out the fact that we've noticed that during the first 4 weeks of a campaign, if your song's over a 20% popularity score, then there's a good chance you're going to get a Release Radar algorithmic boost. And if it's over 30, that's when you start seeing Discover Weekly, generally. So when it comes to your question, how do you raise your popularity score? This is kind of an interesting topic, but cool update on the Spotify side. I was going to make a video about this, but then I realized it'd only be like 3 minutes long, and so I didn't do it. Maybe I'll do it anyways, but there's this new thing they added called engagement. It's in beta, and not everyone has it. But you know, for a while now, me and other people have been talking about the save rate of a song, the repeat listen rate of the song, how many playlists your song gets added to, and we've always been saying like those factors really contribute to how well a song does algorithmically. And Spotify came out with this engagement feature, which kind of confirms some of the theories that we had, right? They have streams per listener as an important engagement metric. They show saves, they show playlist ads, and then intent rate, which I believe is like the number of saves and playlist ads divided by the number of listeners. So like if I go to another tab and do 3,735 plus 2,556, and I divide that by 42,000, it's actually 15%, not 11%. So maybe they actually calculate it differently. But that's the intent rate, which they say is kind of like the if a person shows intent to listen to your music again in the future through saves and playlist ads, but maybe they don't use listeners, maybe they do something else. Or, I don't know, because it's weird that it's lower than when I just calculate it manually. But basically, like if you want to raise your popularity score, of course you need streams. You need lots of streams. You also want saves, and you also want playlist ads. I believe popularity score is pretty much just a function of streams per time period, but I feel like it also factors in the number of saves and playlist additions. I might be wrong. There's no publicly available information, and they'd be very hard to test, but that's kind of my my best guess at the moment. Robert St. Louis, a golden day. The Prairie States, we're 3 weeks and change into our single release and haven't seen that massive release radar pop, about an extra 500 streams and nothing massive. Yeah, sometimes algorithmic playlist boosts aren't as substantial as other ones. And I'll show you a quick thing about that. Like, my song Life is Short is my most recent song until, spoiler alert, next Friday I have a song coming out. I just uploaded it last night. I've been like sitting on it for a while, just unsure if it's ready, but I decided just to say it's ready and move on, because I already have 2 tracks ready after that. So my song Life is Short. If I go to playlists and I'll look at since 2015 just to get all the data. Okay, this one actually did do quite well algorithmically. So algorithmically on Release Radar, got 7,300 streams, which is more than the number. I think I have 7,000 followers, so like definitely algorithmic Release Radar boost. And pretty nice size, you know. Typically from your followers, you can expect like if 10% of your followers listen to your song from Release Radar, that'd be great. So this is definitely an algorithmic thing. Now, Discover Weekly, this is the point I came here. So only 180 streams, and this is actually something that I see a lot, where the first time a song gets on Discover Weekly, it's usually pretty meh. And I think it's because Spotify, like, they see that your song has potential. They put it on a little bit of people's playlists, on Discover Weekly playlist, and they kind of like see how people respond, if they skip it a lot, if they don't click save often, if they add it to their playlist and stuff. And then like they save that data, and then like next time, if it still qualifies, or if it did reasonably well, they'll kind of test a different audience and bring it out. And most songs the first time they get on aren't that substantial. So that could be kind of what you're seeing, but I've also had it happen with Release Radar. Like, I think my song Closer, I might be wrong, but if I go to the playlist for this, since 2015, it's actually done decent on Discover Weekly. But like only 3,000, you know, which I mean is a lot in like, you know, 3,000 streams. I'm not going to say it's not much, but when I compare it to like, you know, some of my other songs, you can see that like there's a big discrepancy in how songs can do. And like this song actually didn't do, even though it's crushing it in Discover Weekly and radio, it actually didn't do as good in Release Radar as my new song Life is Short. So, you know, I guess I wouldn't stress too much about it. It just kind of happens. Should we keep marketing the song to see if we can hit it with Discover Weekly? I'd say yeah. I mean, if it's in your budget, I wouldn't completely destroy your budget just to push it. You know, like my song Undone did pretty bad, and I made a video about how bad it did. It was called like $1,000 failed marketing campaign or something. You know, this was one of my more expensive campaigns, and it's one of my worst campaigns, because I really if I didn't have a YouTube channel to share the failure, I would have stopped it after like $300 and just saved the money for the next song. But I thought it would make great content to just keep trying to make it as good as possible, but this was like my worst performing one. I don't recommend pushing your budget with reckless abandon. Like small release radar boost, time like 5 streams Discover Weekly. So it got on Discover Weekly, it just did bad. And it song just did horrible overall. This was my biggest failure of a song since I've started doing this. Fortunately, I've released 2 songs since then, and they've both done much better. So you win some, you lose some, I guess. The prayer rate will be coming in, it takes a bit, but if your save rate is 65%, you'll see a discovery. Yeah, I would agree. Like, if you're getting a good volume and your save rate's really high, I'd be hopeful that it would happen, but like I wouldn't go crazy with it for sure. That's a good point though, JC. Like, no, sometimes you just have to wait. Like my song Life is Short, right? I'm not too stressed that I only get 150 streams from Discover Weekly. It's just like, you know, I'm pretty confident it'll get back on there later and it'll do good. So, just because the song itself is doing quite good. TV, man, I hate when the YouTube thing like updates as I'm reading. That it just shoots the chat upwards. There we go. TVLK Beats. Hey, I followed your videos for a while. The one thing I've struggled with is finding similar artists to target in Facebook ads. I'm relatively niche, and most artists I look up aren't there. So I wouldn't stress out about this too much, honestly. I'm relatively niche in a way. I mean, if I look at my side project Murder Night, it's dubstep metal. Like, there's almost nothing to target. So what I typically do for that is I do like cascading genres, and this campaign actually didn't do too hot. So like my song Life is Short did great. This one did pretty meh. I think if I go last 7 days, yeah, pretty bad overall. But in the past, I wonder if I have a... Well, I won't even bother going with the past. In the past, I would do this metalcore dubstep thing, and it would work quite well. If the page will load. So I'm just metalcore narrowed by Spotify, narrowed by dubstep. And honestly, like, more and more recently, I've been getting more open with my targeting. Like, if I go to Life is Short, the best performing ad's at 20 cents here. If I look at the targeting, it's actually a lot stupid. It's a lot more stupid than you think. It's literally blank, right? This is my best performing ad set. I don't even have an artist in there. This is something new I've been doing. And I think it's just because Facebook, like, they're using machine learning to find stuff out. I've heard that that Facebook is actually, like, they're removing more targeting options than they're adding. And they're, like, not really adding new artists. Because they really want people to rely more on the machine learning than the super niche targeting things. And like, there's still plenty of stuff to target. You'd have to say what kind of sound you're doing, but you know, there's something you can target, whether it's a genre or whether it's a stack of genres. Like if you're doing this weird kind of like jazz metal thing, you would target from some jazz stuff and narrow it by some metal things and test different combinations of that. But you could also experiment with this open thing. This doesn't always work best, but in recently, like, it's something I always try because sometimes it actually is the best option. It's not a guarantee, though, for sure. Oh yeah, JC Flores, adding a canvas to your song as well could totally help with listen rate. That's a good point. I add canvases to every song, Although what I will say is my best song ever, Chains. It's like, oh, it actually won't show. Maybe I can do all time. I don't know why it's not showing views there. It only shows views for the last 28 days, I guess. But like, all my new songs, I add canvases, because I've had access to Canvas since it was like beta. I got it through my distributor, and I never added it to Chains. So my best performing song doesn't even have a canvas. I've been meaning to add one, but like the song's just doing well. I don't want to touch it, you know. But I agree. It probably would help in general. Street Achievements TV. I recently made my first ad campaign. Is it normally for my cost per conversion to be really high? Yes. Your first ad campaign is probably going to be your worst campaign ever for two reasons. One, like, you don't really know what you're doing. And every artist is different. So that's one reason why it's going to be probably the worst campaign ever. Two, your ad account's new and your pixel has zero data on what type of humans convert. So, like, you're the worst you'll ever be, and your pixel has the least amount of data it'll ever have. In the past, I kind of dismissed the idea of, like, your Facebook pixel relying on past data, but I've realized that that's actually a pretty important part of it. And maybe I'll make a video on this, because, like, I literally learned this in the past couple of weeks. There really is a concept of seasoning your Facebook pixel. Like, the more conversions you get under a certain objective, the more Facebook realizes what type of people will convert for your business under that objective. So I have an advantage because I have an ad account that has more data. But that being said, like, this isn't my first ad account. This is my second one. So that's, you know, you can get the data that you need and have things go well relatively quickly. But if it's a brand new ad account, you actually are at a slight disadvantage. And also just because you're not going to know what you're doing. So, which is why recently, actually, like, so I have my ads for my Genera Studios business, and I have my ads for, like, my Andrew Southworth business. And before, they were all just commingled into one ad set, and now I actually made a separate ad set for my music. And over time, I'm going to be migrating all those ads to that ad account. I'm just kind of warming it up still. So that way, it's like, in theory, it should make my Andrew Southworth conversions more effective, and it should make my Genera Studios ones more effective, because right now, view content on my ad account means viewing my sample packs on Shopify, and it could mean a conversion on ToneDen. So I think it's actually hurting my campaigns. I don't know how much, but I did talk to Facebook about it, like their Facebook consultations they give out for free. If you ever get one, like, they're very hit or miss, but take one, because for general questions like that, you know, should I have separate ad accounts with separate pixels or something like that? It's like, yes. Like, those are the kind of questions where those people are useful. But, yeah, anyways, that was a weird tangent to go on. ZOH, just wanted to say thank you. I was able to set up the new pixel after the iOS 14 update. Your videos were really helpful. I was able to bring down my cost per conversion to 6.8 cents per conversion by testing out different ad sets. Holy shit, that's actually fantastic. Congratulations, that's really good. Eminent World, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Eminent World, I set up the conversions campaign with a lookalike expansion ad set, lookalike ad set, and 3 others. And for some reasons, though I got 1,000 conversions in 3 days, I barely hit 400 plays. If there's a few tips I'd have for that. This problem isn't super common, but it's common enough. I have a laundry list of items. Like when I do my consultations, which, by the way, like, there's a link in the description. My calendar is probably sold out, but if you're interested, every day new sessions are added. But when I do these consultations, it happens often enough where I have kind of a laundry list of items. So, like, 1, make sure audience network is turned off. 2, make sure you're not targeting countries like, I would say, India, Philippines, Egypt, Tunisia, and there's a few. Basically, like, avoid all of, I think, Africa. Avoid a lot of, like, South Asia, so India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. Don't target any of the new countries. When Spotify goes into a new country, the percentage of people with Spotify is often insanely low. If you think about it, like, when a new app comes to your country, like, how long is it going to take before you even know that it's in your country? Like, you know, probably a long time. So it could be the countries. It also, like, don't include people over 65, the 65 plus. I found that's very spammy. Lastly, it could just be like, if you have, I've noticed that people, when they have a relatively new ad account, if they start off with a super broad country set, they get down this rabbit hole where all of their campaigns just don't convert well. And so, like, if you have a brand new ad account, obviously, like, it sounds like you don't because you have a lookalike audience. But if this has been a consistent problem with you, the next campaign I launch, I'd probably stick with, just to be extra safe, like tier 1 countries, just Instagram placements. You know, and more specific targeting than broad targeting. Just so you can, like, find the right people and have your ad account kind of figure out what to do. Until you, like, once you get working data, then you can expand your country set. But those are the kind of laundry list of items I go through with people. Really what you want to do also is you want to check, like, where your money's being spent on your Facebook ad, and then look on Spotify and see what countries aren't coming through. That's really, like, that's how I come up with what countries to target, is I see the data on Facebook and I see the data on Spotify. I compare them. If I'm spending a ton of money in, like, I don't know, Ukraine, and I'm not getting any streams in Ukraine, Ukraine goes to my shit list. And recently my shit list, I just added, like, Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, and a couple others. I still target them sometimes, but I keep an eye on them because they, in a campaign, I noticed they were not following through on Spotify. You know, it is what it is. But it's different for every artist, I found. Like, sticking with tier 1 and tier 2 countries are pretty safe, but once you add the tier 3 ones in, you want to keep an eye on it in general. If you're especially if your ad account's new. But yeah, other people might have different opinions on it, but that's what I've been thinking about it lately. Woo! I'm not used to talking so much. Usually I have a guest. Contra Worldwide Recordings, can you retarget a warm audience like those who have watched 50 Cent or more of a video with a conversion campaign? Yeah, you can. Actually, like, I'm pretty sure I'm doing that right now. So I haven't formally announced this, but, like, right now, I'm, like, going pretty hardcore into getting a bunch of warm video audiences and, like, giving the whole entrepreneur thing its fair shake, because I've never, like, fully committed to just getting a bunch of hard, like, deep, long viewers, retargeting them, getting them on a mailing list, and trying to sell them a physical product. So I'm going pretty ham on that right now. Like this campaign here and that couple others, you know, 28,000 through plays, and in here I don't want ROAS, I want video engagement. I'm retargeting people who watched 95% of another. Now this is like a 95% video view lookalike audience. This is a lookalike of 75. I did somewhere I typed in. I retargeted people who converted. So I guess I did the opposite. I targeted people who converted on the song with a video audience. But you could also target a video view audience with conversions. I would just say that make sure it's big. Because, like, conversions seem to really require a lot of people. Like, if your retargeting audience is less than, like, 20,000 people, or even that might be small, 50,000 people, I wouldn't go with conversions as the retargeting objective. I might go with link clicks or landing page views. And if it's smaller, like 10,000, 15,000, I might just go with engagement, video views, and just keep the link on there. Because if you're retargeting someone you know is safe, you almost don't, like, if you're just going for Spotify, you don't really need the conversion thing, right? Because, like, you know they're legit people. And you're really just trying to show it to all of those people, in a way. So, you know, kind of keep that in mind. But you can. But you might find that you get, like, a handful of results and then it just stops running, or the frequency goes up very high. So yeah. Oh, super chat. Kyle Prim. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. Let me see if you had a question associated with that, and then I'll get back to where I was. Whoops, lol. What types of data tools can you get? Assuming it's somewhat locked down behind Facebook. But there has to be a better way to crunch some numbers than just eyeballing it, right? I'm not sure I necessarily get what type of data tools can you get. I'm guessing you mean, like, are there tools you can pay for that will crunch numbers for you? And I mean, probably. Feel free to clarify this if I'm wrong. But I believe, like, you know, there's not too much number crunching to do. Because like if we go here, we have Spotify conversions. I'll change this back to performance so we can see the number of conversions. We have the number of conversions in results. We can jump over to Spotify. We can see how many listeners have come in, and we're down here. We can see how many saves. We can see how many streams. That's pretty much it. I mean, like, it gets a little hairy now with iOS 14. You can't see country breakdowns anymore. You actually can't see any breakdowns for conversions. So you kind of have to figure it out. And maybe this is what you're talking about, like going by the ad spend. You know, if I go here, for example, and I see, let's see, which ad set's best? This one only has 102. I think one of these ad sets is bigger, like 1600 or something. I'm going to find that one. Yes, 1900. So, like this one, if I looked at the countries, and Argentina, $12, Chile, Colombia, $12, Italy, $13, like Mexico, $40, right? So if I go over to the specific song, you only get the 28-day breakdown, but you can go here and compare like how many streams you're getting as a percentage to the overall amount of streams, and if it's like really low for Mexico or whatever country you're looking at, then that's cause for concern. But there is another way to do it. Like there's a tool called Feature FM that will give you country level tracking. And I don't have an account anymore. I canceled it because I wasn't using it because it's very expensive. It's like when you get the custom domain, it's like $30 a month or something, and it's very nice, but it's just so expensive and it's a pain in the ass to set up. I don't recommend Feature FM. Like look at this pricing model. $17 a month, no custom domain. If you want a custom domain, you have to sign up for Pro Artist and be on the yearly plan. At least this, I believe. Or I think if you're on the Artist, you can pay an additional $10 a month to get the custom domain. And you have to buy, you can't even use a subdomain, you have to use a top level domain. So this will help you figure out what countries convert though. It shows you a click-through rate for every country, which is quite nice. It's just so expensive. Like for that one thing, like for me, I can probably justify it, but one of my clients uses them, and they made it such a hassle to set up the custom domain. I just really don't like them anymore. So if anyone from Feature FM ever sees this, if you want to win me back, feel free to give me a free trial. But right now, I don't recommend the service, unfortunately. It's very nice. It's just like their customer service isn't super hot especially for the price. Don't mean to be salty about it. It made my life very frustrating for a week having to get their custom domain set up, because ToneDen's custom domain setup was so easy, and even Hypedit's was a little more complicated, but still so easy. And then Feature FM, you know, this client was paying like, they weren't even on these settings. They were on like Pro Marketer yearly, so they give them like $2,500 a year, and we were getting like no customer service, and it was just like embarrassing. I was like, man, I can't believe that it cost this much for you. And he was like, I'm not going to renew it. So, yeah. All right, I got to get caught up. Where did I leave off? And I'm probably going to miss over some stuff. Feel free oh, Ray, why does your mic sound like that? I hear a hiss in the background. Yeah. I have an air conditioner running like right there. You see that little tube? It's kind of hot. I could probably turn it up now. It was like 85 today. It's only 61 now, so I could probably turn it off. But it's kind of nice having to be chilling here, because with all the lights, it gets intense. So I apologize for that. I turn it off for videos, but I thought with the live streams, we're just hanging out, you know. So I do apologize for the less good quality. CHXPB, what happened with ToneDen? Do you keep using it? I typically use Hypedit. I do use ToneDen for a few campaigns, and I also use my own custom coded thing for a few campaigns. I don't know if I have a good example at the moment, actually, for the custom coded ones, but Yeah, I use it. I mean, they did have an outage a few weeks ago, maybe a week ago, something like that, where you couldn't make new pages. You had to like duplicate an existing page and manually put all the links. It was like Spotify changed their API and it broke for ToneDen or something based on how they implemented it. Yeah. Lacey Jackson, I saw your interview with Entrepreneur, and I know they focus on spending money for exposure and then retargeting to make that money back. How do you plan to recoup your budget with this strategy? So honestly, like my game plan for a long period of time was like I can retarget anyone that's converted on Spotify. So I'm always like, well, if I can retarget people, I'm building an audience that's just as good as doing the whole video view thing, right? And so like the game plan was always to get into some level of merch and stuff, and like it's just like recently I started doing it where like if you go to shop.andrewsouthworth.com, like I did actually build a store for that purpose, because I am starting to finally get into this and build that out. And you can go to website, and I actually built like a website just in WordPress, and very very fancy opt-in page. Like I don't have the email set up, so if you go there and join, you're not going to get any emails yet. In fact, I'd prefer you don't join. If you want to, you can, but if you're interested in my music, but I do pay per email subscriber with my thing, so please be easy on me if you aren't interested. But yeah, so like I'm starting to get into that because like the merch thing is the fastest path to profitability. Maybe not just merch, but like every selling things, right? Like I have a store where I sell sample packs. This is also a Shopify store, and like this was profitable pretty quickly. Like before I even had a good website, this business was profitable. And the Spotify thing, like it's profitable sometimes. Like my song "Socialize," I might like it at least was profitable. Like I initially put $300 into it, or $350, something like that, and it had like 150,000 streams, which means that it made back a little bit more. It would have made back like $400 when I put in $350, or maybe a little more. But then because of that, I'm just like, well, it's not like I need that money, so I just started running an ad campaign for it because it was doing so well, and that's why it kind of apparently Spotify just crashed. Hold on. We just refreshed that real quick. You can see like it kind of came back to life. I mean, this was all just from the initial campaign, but recently I started running some ads again to bring it back to life. So like Spotify campaigns can actually like make money. It's hard, and it's really like a long-term grind of a game. But like, it's possible, and that's why I'm also getting into the merch stuff, because like no artist is just doing one thing. Like there's other streaming services. Some people do shows, some people do merch, some people do Patreon models, some people do other stuff. So that's kind of my plan on recouping the marketing investment. I mean, aside from everything else I have going on, right? But just like the music itself, not counting like my sample pack business and my course business and stuff like that. Robert St. Wait a minute. Kyle Prim, what's the interplay between analytics and campaign prep? Typically, at least for me, and maybe you do it more scientifically. What I do is I like every one of my songs is kind of different, so it can be a little tricky. I've never targeted Machine Gun Kelly before because I've never had a song that sounded like it would fit that niche, but this song did, so every one of my songs I kind of try to go in a slightly different direction because it's just who I am. I get very bored quickly with staying in one path, I guess, and so I kind of use what worked on the previous campaigns. Like I know what targeting metrics I use, what style of ads worked, and so I know like what didn't work, what did work. And like for example, like the campaign for Undone, I had an animated music video, and I realized that really did not work for the song. I mean, the song did bad overall, but those videos did worse than when I did like a lip sync of the song. When I did Fire, I had like a nice stock footage video, and that did fine. But then when I did Life is Short, performance style video seems to work best. So I'm kind of converging down to doing more either lip syncing or actual performance videos of my songs, because people seem to like that. So like, I don't have it all tabulated out in a table. It's more of just like, I know time and time again, this worked, this didn't, and the next time I go and I do it again. And then also for countries, when a country doesn't convert well to Spotify for a campaign, I'll go and I'll like flag them as red in a spreadsheet somewhere. And then so that way I know for next time, like, oh, maybe I should just skip that country, at least initially. Robert St. Louis, I'm currently lost on the best thing to do. I released an album last year but didn't do any marketing. My next song comes out in 3 weeks. Should I run awareness campaigns to help build hype? Honestly, like, if your song comes out in 3 weeks, I'd consider promoting that album from last year so that, like, you get people in love with that album and following you on Spotify. Like, use videos from the previous album, different songs, but send them to your Spotify profile so that they hopefully follow you and listen to those songs, so that when your song drops in 3 weeks, your Spotify is already kind of like, you've leveled it up a little bit, right? So like when you drop the song, some people are already ready for it. If you spend too much effort, like just hyping a song that's not out, you can only get someone's attention like a few times, and you can only let them down a few times before they'll stop paying attention, right? So like if you're hyping up a song, oh, I gotta check out the song, go look at me on Spotify, and it's not there yet. It's like because it comes out in 3 weeks. 3 weeks is forever in the internet, right? So I would just promote your older stuff, grow your Spotify, and then drop the song for that. That's what I would do, at least. Honu says, currently I have a song that's been getting pushed by Discover Weekly for about a year now, and it's brought 300,000 streams. Oh snap, that's really good. Congrats. Sent a Contra rolled out according to my popularity is 36%, but we haven't hit Discover Weekly. Yeah, I mean, it's, I think I've hit it every time I've had a popularity score of 30. Other people have told me that they've had a popularity score of like 15 and they get on Discover Weekly. Other people have told me like they'll have just what you happened to you. So I'd say that's more of like a trend than it is a guarantee, And maybe it's like Spotify couldn't converge on what type of human likes the song, and so they just never pushed it. It's hard to know for sure. Spotify does what Spotify wants, I guess. Fur Perozzo, have you tried Marquee? Yes, and I've been meaning to do a video about it. I didn't do it for myself though, because they haven't given me access yet. Even though I do qualify, you need like 10,000 listeners from the United States in the past 28 days, which I have. And I'm in the United States, which means I qualify. You have to pay for it with the United States bank account. So I meet all the qualifications, but they're like, oh yeah, you qualify, you'll get it in the next few months. So, but one of my clients actually got access to it, and he wanted to run it for one of his upcoming songs. I can't show it on screen though. But I will tell you that it worked good. I'm going to make a video about it, and I'm just going to blur out everything that's important. Yeah, there's no way I can show this on screen, unfortunately. But I'm going to make a video about it. But moral of the story, we spent $750 on one of them. And the way they charge is it's literally just like, before your song comes out, you pick if you want to use Marquee. And when your song comes out, on release day, it'll show ads to your followers, like a pop-up that says, hey, do you want to check out this new release? And they just charge 50 cents per click. Anyone that clicks the button to check out your release, 50 cents. On average, 12% of people stream the release after seeing the Marquee. 4.5 streams per listener, so pretty high engagement levels. 236 playlist ads and 460 saves. So super high save rate, super high listen rate, super high playlist ad rate for 50 cents per person in the United States. So pretty solid, honestly. Like the second I get it, I'm using it, because they're like, it's not like cheap. It's fair, I would say. Like the target people that already follow you, guarantee they know about your new release in the United States, like the most expensive market with one of the highest lifetime values. For me, that's 50 cents is worth it, especially with the data being 100% accurate. With Facebook, there's always this loss, but this is like Marquee was the first time, like Spotify has Ad Studio. It's pretty bad. It's really expensive, but Marquee, I think it's fairly priced. So I can't wait to do that video. I was hoping that I would get it though, so I could make it a double whammy and show a lot more data. Because at this point, I've run 2 or 3 campaigns with it. Yeah. Kari, it's a fun name. Any tips on getting more saves and repeat listeners? I find that we get more plays and playlist ads with our Facebook and Instagram ads, but they seem to fall off quickly after a campaign ends. I would say, well, like with save, you're right. It is kind of tricky. Like, you can target and try to get the best cost per conversion, but there's really no way to know which one of your ad sets, which one of your ads gets you the highest save rate or the highest playlist rate. So you're kind of shit out of luck for that. The only thing I would say is that make sure that like the song in your ad is a very good representation of your song on Spotify. Meaning, like, if you have a 45-second intro, don't use a part of the song, like the only loud part of the song, when your song starts with a 45-second intro, because people are going to get there and they're going to be like, this literally isn't what I clicked. I've never had that issue. If I look at my stats, like, Fire hasn't had a campaign running in at least a few weeks. Probably 4 or 5 weeks. I haven't run ads on this song. So like today's the 20th. So if I go back to like, let's say we call it, I mean, like, I think ads are running during all of this and then it stopped. So it's just been kind of gradually going down with or without the ads. So unfortunately, I don't really know what to say for your specific example. Mateus, I believe, Mateus Zem, guys, ad in Brazil is really cheap, and as a Brazilian, he can say that they're true loyal fans of music, and English language music is very famous in South Brazil. Don't target North. Okay, that's interesting. Don't target North Brazil, target South Brazil. I would have no idea about that, but that's actually a really interesting idea. Brazil is one of my best countries in Spotify, and Brazil in general, like, I've seen people where they're like, oh, it's Brazil, it's all bots. Well, okay, like, countries with the most bot traffic. Ready to have your mind blown? China, United States. Vietnam, Brazil. The United States has the most bad traffic in the bot traffic, only behind China. So, you know, if you scale it for like population, that does change a lot. But still, United States, Brazil, not too far off in this case. And why would you scale it for population? You know, I mean, it's probability of hitting a bot, but still, there's more bots in the United States than there is in a lot of the countries people associate with bots. My dog just grunted. So a lot of people say like, oh, Brazil, you know, bots and stuff, but like Sao Paulo, I think it's Sao Paulo. Yeah, Sao Paulo. It's the biggest city in the most populous city in the Americas, the Western Hemisphere, and the Southern Hemisphere. So it's like when people talk about Spotify trigger cities, it's no wonder that Sao Paulo is a trigger city. It's one of the biggest cities, period. Like, it's bigger than, I think, LA and New York in population, right? So keep that in mind. And so that's cool to hear, Mateus, that like Brazil's a huge music country. My stats confirm that when I go to audiences. Brazil, only behind the United States. You know, I get so much Brazilian traffic that Music Stacks and Spotify think I'm Brazilian synthwave. I don't know how that happened, but I guess maybe I had so much Brazilian traffic for one of my songs or something. Seriously, go look up new music Friday right now. My song's at number 42 on a lo-fi record. Oh, snap. That's awesome. Congratulations. New music Friday, huh? I don't even know where to find that. Is that like a playlist? Yeah, I have no idea how to find New Music Friday. I guess I'll just search New Music Friday. Yeah, I have no idea. But anyways, that's super cool. I'm guessing it's a big thing because that sounds like something I've heard people talk about. I've never checked it out, But yeah, if you have any information how you did it, I'm sure everyone here would like to know, as would I. DOU, peace Andrew, you the Q a Goat King, thanks dude. What was your Facebook ad strategy for your song Change in the first couple of days? How much was your ad spend? I think it was like $30 a day, but like I had the vocalist on that song. Almost every one of my songs I do vocals now, but that one I didn't. So maybe people like his voice better than mine. But he was also running ads. So like basically what I did is, since we were splitting the song, it was a dual release, I didn't want to have all the Instagram, social media, Facebook stuff go to me. So like we set up the same ad on my account and his account. And it was just targeting pop music for the most part. I mean, I tested other artists, but pop music ended up winning. Neo Tokyo, what tweaks should I look to make my Facebook ad targeting cheaper, basically? And generally, there's two big things that I've answered this a few times. Testing different videos and ad creatives, or testing new audiences. So either one of those two things. Alright, the chat just jumped up a whole notch. Totally lost my place. If I I skipped. I can't answer everyone's questions, unfortunately. But if I miss something super important, feel free to write it again. JC Flores, hey Andrew. So let's say an artist runs a campaign and daily ad spend is $5 a day. Conversions are coming in, but 0 streams, using only tier 1 countries only. Well, the first thing I would say is make sure audience network is off. And then basically, like, anytime you have a campaign where you're getting conversions but no streams, turn that campaign off, duplicate the campaign, make sure audience network is off, make sure you're, if you're targeting tier 1 countries, cool, stick with that. Make sure you don't have 65 plus on, so like never target 65 plus. For some reason, it ends up being way spammier than the rest. And at that point, I would relaunch the campaign. If the same issue happens after, let's say, like a day or two, turn off the campaign, duplicate it, and in this time, I would say strip it back even further. Maybe just do United States, maybe just do Instagram placements, maybe just do Instagram stories, relaunch it again, wait a day. Basically, you're trying to like get it to a point where it works, and then once you get to a point where it works, you can start slowly growing it back out. And that typically works for most people. Every so often, like if someone has a brand new ad account, you'll have really big issues when you try to expand the countries. And so like what I believe, and I'm kind of like just testing this out for the first time with someone's ad account, that I'm kind of like, even though it's way more expensive, we're running to only tier 1 countries and a very specific set of them, because every time we expand it, the follow through is way less. And so I think it has to do with the fact that their pixel doesn't have as much data for what type of people are the right type of people. So you essentially have to force a bunch of like really ideal data, right? So like get a campaign running that has like a great save rate, a great follow through on Spotify, great playlist additions, great followers, and let it run until you get like 50, 100 conversions, and then kind of expand it a little bit and let it run. And that's kind of been my approach with a couple of specific clients that it's been more problematic than others. But everything else I said is like what I would try first, because it's a lot. It can get very hairy, as you can imagine, like stripping it back and testing this thing and then waiting a day and then testing and then waiting a day. It just takes a long time, especially with a new song. It can kind of ruin like the first week. Ryan Martin. Hello, Andrew. Hope you're well. I am well. Thanks. Been watching a heap of your videos. My personal Facebook account has been restricted. I'm having trouble with my band page, and we've got a single coming out soon. Is there anything you could recommend to do as a workaround? Not really. I mean, like if your whole personal Facebook account has been restricted, that means you as an individual can't make a business manager account, you can't make your own ad account, and you can't even run other people's ad accounts. So you're kind of stuck with making one of the band members make a business manager and having them do it, like at their house. If you're doing that though, like if you're gonna do it, make sure you don't log into their Facebook on your computer. If Facebook sees that you're banned and then you're using someone else's account on your IP address, or your phone, they'll figure it out and they'll see that you're trying to get around the block, and then they might block him too. And then they might see that, oh, you tried doing that once and you're friends with these other people on Facebook, let's just block all of them. They can get pretty aggressive with it. So if it's not actually your whole profile that's blocked, then what you could do is make a new business manager account and try doing that. But like, rule of thumb for everyone watching, like if you have a brand new business manager account and a brand new ad account, don't do conversions as your first campaign. Like there's I'd say higher than 50% chance your ad account will get restricted if you do a conversion campaign as the first campaign in your ad account. You really shouldn't launch a conversion campaign until you've spent like at least $120 in your ad account. And also when you launch it, like don't have more than one ad and review at a time, because like if you have like a bunch of ad sets and a bunch of ads, you publish them all at once, and one of them gets rejected. Since it's copied in all those ad sets, it's going to get rejected like 5 times, and then Facebook's going to be like, whoa, we're going to block you as a precaution. So I've seen that happen to more people than I would like. Jared Gutierrez, Facebook ads versus YouTube ads, which is better? I would say Facebook ads by a long shot. Saziki Typhoon, as an overall game plan, what would be a recommendation for promoting a new single with no real fan base yet? Oh man, yeah, you're right, that is a hard question to say. I would say, you know, as much as I love Facebook ads, if you've never released a song or you have no fan base, I might get, like, you didn't mention if it's your first song or just that you have no fan base, but if it's your first song release, I would consider like just trying things out organically for a couple releases, because like if you have no catalog on your Spotify, sending people to a Spotify with one song on it, like no one's gonna follow your Spotify if there's one song there, right? I mean, people that really love it will, but if you think like you send someone to a Spotify with 15 songs on it, there's a lot for them to go through and listen to and make sure they like you, add songs to playlist. If there's one song, you kind of lose a lot of the, I guess, like bonuses that come with the campaign. So you might consider waiting, but if you already have a full release strategy, like I'm going to do a single here, month later single, or even faster or something like that, then like maybe it's worth it jumping into ads right away. I would avoid playlist pitching for the most part. Maybe pitch to some blogs on Submit Hub or something. Make really good social media content. But Facebook ads are really like what I recommend for most people. But you know, if you don't have a catalog yet, you're missing out, definitely. When I promote a new song, it's kind of like my whole catalog gets a boost. If you don't have a catalog, you miss that boost, basically. This is Casimir, toned down Spotify playbook or just driving Facebook ads to Spotify link? Neither. So like, you can make a landing page or smart link on ToneDen without using their playbook. So like, use Facebook ads to drive traffic to a ToneDen smart link campaign. The Spotify playlist, the Spotify playbook on ToneDen, it's really made like, it's a tool that works, but it's really made for people that are kind of in between two worlds. Like they don't want to do marketing themselves, and they're not at the point where they can afford to hire someone. So it makes sense to kind of fall in that middle thing where the playbooks make sense. But if you are willing to learn this yourself, I wouldn't do the the playbook itself. Saziki, fair point. Thanks, boss. I'll stick to instant TikTok for now. Yeah, and I mean, like once you get a catalog and a bunch of content, like that's when ads start to make a lot more sense. I mean, like ads would work for one song in a Spotify profile, but like, you know, to maximize your money, you know, if you waited for a few songs, you'll get a lot more of that money if you have a few songs in there. Eminent World, hey Andrew, what's the best strategy to run a Spotify follower campaign? So basically the same thing I show in all my videos, except when they're on their ToneDen or Hyped link, instead of when they click Spotify it takes them to the song, send them to your profile instead. And that's really it. The percentage of people that follow will go up. Now the downside is the percentage of people that save your song will go down. So like basically if you send someone to your profile, number one thing that's going to happen is follows. Send someone to a song, number one thing that's going to happen is saves. send someone to a playlist, number one thing is going to happen is they're going to like the playlist, and you might get 10 streams from one person, but horrible saves, horrible followers. Whereas if they're sent to the profile, great followers, bad saves. If you send them to the song, bad followers, and they're only going to stream that song typically, unless they really like you. So like every campaign is a trade-off. So you kind of got to pick which thing you want to prioritize. I do all three at different times though. Sean Williams, when adding different ads to an ad set, should we keep the ones performing poorly running, or should we delete them and stick with the successful ones? I would say, like, if Facebook is doing their job and like not putting money into bad ads, then you could just leave them. But Facebook isn't perfect. Like, I'm running this campaign here. This is to sell my sample packs. And it actually, like, today it's finally like almost breaking even. It was at a huge loss for the last 5 days, and now it's breaking even, and I think it'll be profitable by tomorrow, which is cool, because this is actually like a sales thing where like it makes me money, which is nice. And if I look at any one of these ad sets, so this Crunch ad, this video was really engaging. Like, I'll show you a little bit of the video. I'm like, I think you can hear it, yeah. I think that was clipping hardcore. I apologize if I just blew your ears out. But yeah, so like really cool video, right? Like pretty interesting with that, but the product itself is pretty lame. Like, it's just, I made a sample pack with a bag of potato chips. Really interesting video content, really bad from a product perspective. It's only $3, but still I think a lot of people are like, ah, cool, and they love the video. And so Facebook's opinion of this video is above average quality, above average engagement, above average conversion rate ranking. I don't even know what the hell that means even. Expected conversion rate above average. This video was like, at the time, it's still even had spent more money than some of my ones that have actually made sales, right? So like this one has gotten 3 sales, an average of $11 a purchase, which is actually like profitable. But it has a below average engagement rate ranking. But they thought this ad was fantastic, so they were putting all this money behind it, but in reality it was getting no sales. So this was a case where like I turned it off. But typically Facebook's going to do their job, and if they see a campaign isn't getting conversions, they're just going to turn it off. And I bet if I ran this ad long enough, they would have figured it out, but I could just tell, you know, like across all my ad sets, that ad was consistently getting the most amount of money and was consistently getting no sales. So I just turned it off. But most of the time I'll just leave it. Now, that being said, when I duplicate an ad set and like tweak some targeting, if I know an ad always sucks, I won't bother including it anymore. But for the most part, I'll just kind of leave stuff going on. Cal, so it's best to wait if you've got 5 or 6 songs already before going out deep into ads and marketing. I would say like use your own kind of discretion with it. Like, I'm not going to say don't use Facebook ads for your first release, but you just have to understand that like there's a chance like you're probably leaving some stuff on the table by not having enough content there to be ready for them. Like, you know, imagine like same thing with your Instagram. Like, before you run ads, I would say it'd be better. The best case would be you already have a bunch of music, you already have a bunch of awesome content on your Instagram and a bunch of awesome content up to date on your Facebook page, so that when you run these ads and people start checking out your Instagram, checking out your Facebook, there's stuff for them to consume, and maybe they'll follow you, and maybe they'll look, like every so often I'll hit a person and I'll see in like my notifications, this person commented on this video, and then I'll see that they like this other video, like this other video, like this picture, commented on this picture, followed me on Instagram, went over to Facebook, you know, and then you can kind of see like every so often you hit a person and they go down the rabbit hole and they want to see everything you've done because they like what you do. If you don't have that there for them, you didn't get that potential fan, you know, and you missed out. So it's not that it won't work, it's just that you are kind of putting yourself at a less of an advantage, I guess. So but ideally, yeah, 5 or 6 songs, good Instagram content, good Facebook content. I would say that's the best case scenario. Jared Rogers, $5. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Props for the stream, Andrew. Well, I'm glad you dig it. Thanks for the $5. DOU. Just checking. My chat function bumped. Have your thoughts on pre-saves changed? Is it effective for the first few days of a release? If not, what are the main factors you realize help in triggering algorithms? I don't really run pre-save campaigns. Like, I'll share pre-save links organically. And I ran a pre-save campaign for my song Fire, I think, to test it out. Just to see if, like, maybe my opinion changes or if something new happens. And I still don't like pre-saves. At least not on ads. Like, think about this. Let's do some quick math. I'm going to go to break open the Google. We're going to do some math. So, let's see. What would this math be? Let's say, for example, you run an ad on Facebook and it costs you $2 to get a pre-save on Spotify. Pretty common number. A lot of people will say, you know, maybe $1.50, maybe $3. So let's just say it's $2 per pre-save. So essentially what you're paying for is $2 for a save. Now, let's say you're running ads on Facebook and you're getting a 20-cent conversion cost. So 20 cents is what I'm going to put in here. You actually can't see it. If I get to the calculator. There we go. So 20 cents per conversion. Let's say only half of those people listen on Spotify. So we multiply that by 2. Now we're at the cost per listener. And let's say 50% of those people save the song, which is actually low. Like, I've seen people get 70% save rates, no problem. Some people 95%, but let's just say it's 50. So that means double that again. So that means when our song's out, we're paying 80 cents per save. When you run that same campaign as a pre-save, you pay $2. So to me, the math just doesn't make sense. Like, why would I pay $2 for a save before the song comes out when I can pay 80 cents for a save after the song comes out? And these are like standard numbers, 20 cents for a conversion, assuming only half of the people that convert end up as a listener, which usually it's better than that. Assuming only a 50% save rate, usually it's better than that. So 80 cents or $2 for a save, you know, you decide. And that's why I don't run pre-saves. Now, the advantage is all those saves happen on day one. So, like, you know, DistroKid gives you a Hyperfollow link. Share it organically. Or if you're using another service, share it organically. Pin it to your Instagram thing. Put it on your Facebook page. Send it out to your email list. But I wouldn't pay for it. I'd much like... Now, I'll put a caveat there. Because depending on what you're doing, when you get a pre-save, you can actually get an email address. And so, like, $2 for an email address in a pre-save, the email address is a lot more valuable there than the save, right? Because then you can contact that person. But if you're not using the emails at this point in your music career, then, you know, it's no-brainer, don't do it, pretty much, to me at least. But if you can use the emails, you know, get them on an email list, warm them up, get some conversations going with them, show them some products, send them some free stuff, like really build a good relationship with every fan that follows through with that, then it's like it makes sense. So that's my opinion on the pre-save thing still. In Spiritual asks, does the DistroKid Hyperfollow thing still work? No, unfortunately. DistroKid has not added custom domains to Hyperfollow. So that means you can't track conversions on Hyperfollow, so you can't use them in Facebook ad campaigns, which is a bummer because Hyperfollow has a lot of conversion events, like really cool events, like people click play on the page when people open the artwork, and like really cool stuff you can track that no one else is doing. And it's free, and everyone has it. And it's just a bummer. Like, it's on their list, like to add these custom domains, but it's not something that they have now. My dog is asleep at my feet, and it's like the most precious thing in the world. So, yeah. Unfortunately, now we can't use DistroKid Hyperfollow, which is kind of a bummer. Sean Williams, we had that consultation last year. Awesome, man. My memory is... I'm trying to zoom in on your picture. I'm sure if I saw your face like up close, I'd remember. It happens to me all the time. I'll get in a call with someone for a consultation, and I think I don't know them, and then we hop in the call, and I'm like, oh, we talked about this thing and the stuff. Gabriel Hughes, always bring a ton of knowledge to artists. Do you still offer a service where you run ad campaigns for artists? Kind of. Not really. Like, I do it, yes, but I only do it, like, if someone books a consultation with me, and we get in the call, and they're like, man, I would just really love for you to do it, then I'll kind of, like, you know, if I believe in what they're doing, and I think it's a genre I can help with, and I'll give them a quote. But I don't typically accept, like, requests to do the work for it. That being said, if people hit me up and they're like, hey, I want to hire you to do my ads, if it's not something I can do, or my price isn't right, or, like, either I'm too busy or whatever, I do have a couple people I can refer you to. So it's kind of like a yes and no, basically. I just don't have enough time to do all the stuff that I want to do. So I do it, yes, but very limited capacity, but I can like refer you to someone. So I think my email's in this thing. I don't want a million emails of people asking me to do their ads, but, like, if you really, like, want me to do it, feel free to hit me up, and I'll either give you a quote or refer you to one of my pals. And JC Flores in the chat actually is one of the people I would refer you to, because he does ads fantastically, and he's a good dude. So he'd be one of the people I'd send you to if I couldn't do it or it just wasn't right for me. But yeah. But thanks, Gabriel. That's I get that question a lot. I realized I like teaching a lot more than I like doing for people. You know, like, I love doing it myself, and I like teaching people to do stuff, but I don't like just doing work for people as much. You know, even though it's still ads and it's fun. Yeah. That's why I don't do a ton of that work. Whew. Anyways, so this was planned to be an hour, and we've gone over, because we always go over when we live stream. But I'm glad this was popular. Like, the fact that, like, 50 people hung out through this whole thing means that I'm going to try to do this more. You know, I haven't done too many streams like this. I'm not going to commit to doing this weekly because I know I don't have the time for it, but I'm going to try to do this like every other week or something. Don't hold me to it, but this is fun, and it seems like everyone digs it. So, you know, let me know in the chat before I sign off, like, you know, smash the like button if you dug this. Feel free to let me know in the chat if you found this valuable. Because, yeah, you know, I'd be happy to do this, like, maybe every other week or something. Bring back the live streams to a little bit more. Cool, yeah, seems like people dig it. Anyways, everyone, thanks so much for hanging out. Have a fantastic Tuesday night. It's midnight, so I gotta go do some stuff and then go to bed. But, yeah, have a fantastic